You had a computer in high school? Because I only had the family computer.
I had my own personal computer.
Ooh, so let me tell you, having only a family computer causes some problems in high school.
Jimmy Tatro. What do you think happens when a YouTuber blows up and becomes a TV and movie star, all while dealing with a life-altering ailment that he's kept secret until today? I'm Anthony Padilla, and I spent today with Jimmy Tatro to find out. Hello, Jimmy. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Visit betterhelp.com/Padilla because sometimes existing is exhausting. And if you want to watch this episode completely uncensored and unsponsored, click the join button below to become a member. Members are going to be getting some really cool surprises very soon. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I met your mom, and I'm not even trying to make a joke. I'm not even trying to make a joke here.
Where?
I was in jury duty, 2015. They had all these questions for each person, like, what do you do for a living? And they're like, I'm not just gonna say YouTuber. And I was like, video producer. And they're like, what kind of videos? I was like, they definitely think it's porn. So, yeah, okay, I have a sketch comedy channel with 20 million subscribers. Okay, your mom was actually one of the jurors sitting in front of me. She was like, my son has a YouTube channel. I was like, oh really, what is it? She was like, Life According to Jimmy. He makes sketch comedy too. I was like, oh, cool, I'll check it out. Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
She was shouting you out, bro. You got another subscriber.
She's always shouting. She was my first subscriber.
She was your first?
Yeah, I told her right when the channel went live, and she said, I want to be the first subscriber, and she clicked subscribe right away.
What was your first YouTube channel?
My first YouTube channel was called the Jimmy Tatro channel. I would kind of upload sketches to there, and then once I got to college, I would do impersonations of this one guy in the fraternity who was like a absolute maniac. Put them into one video called Frat Life. It went viral, which was like 100,000 views at the time, and then I just kind of started building that.
Do you remember the moment when you blew up, when you were like, oh, this could, I'm not gonna have to click my own ads anymore. Other people are gonna click these?
Yeah, it was spring break, freshman year. That was when I first started getting recognized and people started like asking me for photos. After about 5 minutes, I was like, oh, this is no good. Everyone was like very aggressive. People were confused, like, oh, is that not you? I'm like, no, I mean, that's just a character. So I kind of started like slowly phasing it out.
When you decided to move away from making frat bro stuff, you got a call that kind of pulled you back in.
The last hurrah,
yeah,
if you will. I got a call from my friend Tim. He said to me, hey, Yusuf wants your number, who was a prankster on YouTube. 5 minutes later, after I said you can give him my number, I get a call from an unknown number. I don't answer it. I get a text. Hey man, Tyler Perry here trying to reach you. I'm like, here we go, dude. I just gave this prankster my number and now I'm getting a call from Tyler Perry. Get another call, I'm like, hello? Hey man, it's Tyler Perry. I'm like, all right, dude. And I'm just kind of like being a dick.
You're like, this impression's not even good.
Yeah, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, he hired a Tyler Perry impersonator. They're all sitting around the phone giggling. Yeah. I'm like, okay. He's like, so listen, man, I'm doing Boo and Medea Halloween and I'd like you to play a frat boy. And I'm like, dude, listen, I don't know if you hired a Tyler Perry impersonator, if you got like a voice box or something, but I'm not buying it, dude. And he's like, what? You don't believe it's me? What, Tyler Perry's just cold calling me? Yeah, right. And he's like, you want me to FaceTime you? And I'm like, yeah. FaceTime me. I like answered it like holding it like this because I thought they'd be on the other side with like cameras.
Yeah, you're like trying not to show your face.
And I'm like trying not to show my face and it's Tyler Perry sitting at his desk and I'm just like, oh my God, mister, I am so sorry, I did not. And he's like, anyway, so you down? And I was like, yeah.
You can't say no at that point.
Yeah, oh yeah, let's do it. Within 5 days later, I was home and wrapped.
So moral of the story, if you get a call from Tyler Perry, it might actually be Tyler Perry.
If you get a call from Tyler Perry, it's probably him.
Do you think that there was anything from your childhood or anything that gave you that drive to want to create content, on YouTube and then become an actor and make all these things that a lot of people just dream of become a reality?
Growing up in LA and not having that much money can really instill a drive when you're like, oh, the only thing that really is causing problems seems to be money.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that that's not the case and just, work my ass off to alleviate that. I went to a private high school and I started like experiencing levels of wealth that I didn't even know existed. Like I thought like the rich kids just simply like had their own room.
Did you not have your own room growing up?
Until I was like 13, it was me, my brother, and my sister all in one bedroom.
I grew up with 2 younger siblings.
Oh, really?
The oldest. It might have been different because I grew up in a single parent household, but I felt like I was the man of the house. I felt like all the responsibility was on me if anyone was gonna be dug up out of this rut that it felt like we were all in. I think that is partially what drove me to start creating, using the internet as a tool. My dad, they were separated, but my dad had a little bit more money and, access to some cool stuff. And he got me a computer, even though my mom did not want me to have a computer or the internet in my bedroom. Because what happens when a 12-year-old boy has the computer and internet in a private space? So I saw my computer as this gateway to infinite possibilities. I had no physical resources, but whatever you could think of, like that was the only limit.
When I first got a video camera when I was like 12, that was kind of what opened up it unlocked that portion of my mind.
Yeah.
And I started to think, man, I can like make my skate videos and like get them seen and then I'll, blow up. It was always like, how do you eventually get huge and then have enough money to like make your whole family not have to worry about money anymore. So you had a computer in high school?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Because I only had the family computer.
Ooh, I had my own personal computer.
Ooh, so let me tell you, having only a family computer causes some problems in high school.
What were the issues?
Well, let's just say I liked it when no one was home.
Oh,
So what I would do is I would take all the best pictures of boobs, put them on a Word document, print it out, hide it under my bed so I could just have that.
Oh, yeah.
And so one time I was printing it because I knew it was only so much time that I'd have on the computer before my parents would get home.
Yeah.
And my boob viewing would come to an end.
Yes.
But I didn't want that.
No.
I needed to see boobs. Again, I'm like 11, 12 here,
Yeah.
okay? All boobs are all I can think about. I had it printing, and it was coming out of the printer, and I see my parents' car pulling into the driveway.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, and I like hit cancel, rip the page out, go to my room, and like 3 hours later, I'm taking a shower, and I just hear, Jimmy! And my dad just opens the shower door. I'm like, Dad, your brother just went to print out his book report, and this came out. And it was just the other half of my boob document. And he's like, what do you have to say for yourself? And I was like, I already talked to Mom about that. Because my mom had like come at me about some search history stuff
Okay.
that I blamed my dad for. So he was probably just like, this little shit. But the funniest boob thing, not to go down this weird perverted sixth grade path.
Every sixth grader watching right now is like, yeah, homie.
They're
I
like,
get you.
dude,
I get
yes. We all have random boners too. But I remember when I was at my friend's house. Everyone went to bed, and we're like, this was the first time we ever looked up anything. I think we were like 10, maybe 11, and we go on Internet Explorer, and we're just looking at all this stuff: Carmen Electra boobs, XXX boobs,
Everything boobs.
boobies,
Yeah.
boobies XXX.
How many ways can you spell boobs?
Yeah, whatever. We look at it. We start to go to bed, and my friend whose sleepover it was starts to get like, I gotta tell my dad.
What?
And I'm like, what, dude? No, don't tell your dad. And I'm like, we just gotta like delete the search history.
Yeah.
So we go to delete the search history. He doesn't trust it enough. He drags Internet Explorer into the trash bin, which at the time was a big deal. You had to get a CD and download a new Internet Explorer application. So he deleted the internet from his dad's computer because he was so worried that his dad would see it. And then he starts feeling all guilty about it. And he starts crying. And he's like, I gotta tell my dad. Goes into the bedroom, like, dude, no. And his dad must have been like, I mean, your kid comes in crying about looking at porn, like, In hindsight, that's hilarious. But at the time, I'm like, dude, we're busted. It's got to be a hilarious time to have a kid. Because you just see them just doing mischievous shit all the time.
And you're like, I know what you're doing.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're just trying to find boobs.
Can you talk about American Vandal? In the show, you're a dick drawing guy.
Yeah.
You're
But
the
I
guy
mean,
that gets in trouble for drawing dicks.
for drawing dicks on, spray painting dicks.
Yes.
So it's like making a murderer, but about drawing dicks.
Because I feel like a lot of people, if they don't know any better, might think it was like a literal documentary because it was parodying documentaries.
One lady was just like, she asked me if I acted, and I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, sorry, you look like someone from this documentary I'm watching. And I was like, oh, do you mean American Vandal?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. Is that you? I'm like, I hate to break it to you, but it's a scripted comedy show. And she's like, my husband's with me. The guys who made it just did a great job
Yeah.
of making it look very, very real. Like
Yeah.
they use videos from when I was a kid.
Did you have any other struggles growing up or anything that, made things difficult for you? And I was actually thinking, it's probably about time I thank Dipsea for sponsoring this episode. What is Dipsea? Well, I am glad you asked because it is an app full of short audio stories designed by women for women. That's right, women! They bring scenarios to life with immersive soundscapes and characters, and new content is released every single week. So in between listening to your favorite stories, you can always find something new to explore. Dipsea also has sleep stories, wellness sessions, and now they also offer written stories, so you're set no matter how you like to consume these delectable little morsels. And for viewers and listeners of the show, Dipsea is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/Padilla. And if you didn't hear me, that's 30 days of full access for free when you go to dipseastories.com/PADILLA. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you, Rocket Money is sponsoring this episode. Rocket Money is an app that helps you track your expenses so you won't waste your money on subscriptions that you don't even use. Like for me personally, I just recently found out that I was subscribed to Fabletics for the past 8 years, which puts me out $5,000, and I'm not alone. Most Americans are just as stupid as me, and they think that they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions, when it's actually much closer to like $200. Rocket Money shows you all your subscriptions in one easy place, and then it cancels anything that you don't want for you. It can even find subscriptions that you didn't know you were paying for. Like, yes, I did just find out that I was being double charged for Spotify, but it's fine. It happens to all of us, right? Right? Just say right. Get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money right now. Go to rocketmoney.com/Padilla. Seriously, it could save you hundreds per year. That's rocketmoney.com/Padilla. Cancel your unnecessary subscriptions right this second at rocketmoney.com/Padilla. Now back to the world of Jimmy Tatro. Did you have any other struggles growing up or anything that, made things difficult for you?
I mean, I've had a pretty bad hearing loss since I was 4. Worn hearing aids since I was a little kid. Most people don't know that, so they just think I'm an asshole.
Why, for not hearing them?
Yeah, because your back is turned, and they're like, Jimmy, and they're like just ignoring me.
This guy's so full of himself. He's on
Yeah,
American
this guy's-
Vandal, draws dicks all over the place, and now he's better than me.
Not even turning around. Yeah, there's been a lot of times where like people just think I'm a dick, and they're like, dude, I said your name like 10 times. I'm like, I can't hear you. It's a genetic thing. I have it. My brother has it. Mine is mainly high frequencies. Like if this is the graph of like low to high, and then the top is 100% and the bottom is 0. It starts like pretty normal, around like 95%, and then like it just starts to drop like down here. So then the midtones, it really goes down, and then like for some of the, as it gets higher and higher, I'm like pretty much almost deaf for like the highest pitches, and then like really can't hear most of the mids. So my hearing aids pump up the highs. It doesn't correct it entirely. I still don't hear that well, but it really helps with, like, I call it the intricacies of sound. Like if a sink is on, without the hearing aids, I hear the, but with the hearing aids in, I hear the trickle. Like what it really helps with is enunciating, because the high-pitched sounds are like, differentiating between like C, B, D, G, T, and like also like S, H, S, F, like
Yeah.
Those are all the high-pitched noises. So those are hard for me to enunciate when I don't have hearing aids in because I can't hear them. And I also got really good at taking things out of context. Like I explained my hearing loss like Wheel of Fortune. Audible Wheel of Fortune.
So you have some of the letters.
So someone says a sentence to me
Yeah.
and I see the Wheel of Fortune situation.
Yeah.
And I get maybe like 50% of the letters. And I can usually fill it in. And then with the hearing aid, you just get more. A lot of having a hearing loss is like expecting what's coming. If someone says something to me that's so random that I'm not expecting them to say at all, I have a much harder time hearing it. And also if my back's turned and I can't read lips, much harder time hearing it. Like if I exit the room and you call something out after me, like I'll hear your voice, but I'm not gonna understand what you're saying. Because I was embarrassed, I didn't wear the hearing aids all through like second half of high school and in college. Like I really shied away from embracing the hearing loss because I didn't want help. I didn't like want to ask for help.
From other people or?
Yeah, just like, you know, in class, you're supposed to sit in the front of the room and, you know, you're supposed to ask for like there's certain things that like you need when you're hard of hearing that teachers are usually happy to provide, but I didn't want to be in the hard of hearing world. I really didn't want to. And the way I saw it when I was a kid was flawed. It's not cool to think of it like that, but that was unfortunately how I did. I didn't want to be in that community. I wanted to be in this community. So instead of like making my life easier, I just kind of, my brain just worked like twice as hard to try to keep up.
Has it made it difficult with like COVID masks since you
COVID
can't read
masks
lips?
are like the absolute worst case scenario for people with hearing losses. Just when everyone had their mouths covered at all times, it just made things incredibly frustrating and difficult. Like you're on a plane and like it's already loud and then like a flight attendant like says something, I'm like, there's absolutely no chance I'm gonna hear what you're saying. And people always like, you know, when you don't hear, they like, if you're in a loud place, they'll like say it into your ear. I'm like, that's not helpful either. I need to like, just mouth it, you know,
Yeah.
when you look at your mouth when you're talking. And also, you know that you only get 2, maybe 3 whats before the person gets pissed off.
Right, you've dealt with that.
Oh yeah. So like, after a certain point, so like when they say the sentence the first time and you're like, oh boy. At times I'm just like, I just want to like give up on this and just walk away because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hear what they're saying.
And you're not gonna keep saying what?
And I don't want to keep saying it, but I say what again, and I hear equal gibberish. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh boy, here comes the third one. Sorry, one more time. Say it again, and then you just like,
Yeah.
and then they're like, and you're like, oh, it wasn't a yes or no question, and it wasn't.
And
a
it wasn't a
statement.
joke.
It was a question.
Yeah.
I'm expected to say something. Like someone came up to me, I was at a bar like a week ago, and someone was like, said something I didn't hear. It's harder, like female voices are harder because they're higher pitched. Girls said something like over and over. I was like, what? I'm so sorry, I can't hear you. And then eventually it was like, I love your YouTube channel. And I was like, oh, thanks. And she was just like,
Like it took her so long to get that
Jesus
out.
Christ, you made me say that like 5 times, and you feel bad.
Yeah. You're like, I really didn't want to hear it
I
5
don't-
times. I wasn't trying to get you to tell me it 5 times.
I didn't want to make you say it. I just wanted to know what you were saying. But the biggest like pet peeve I have is when people just go, never mind. Because you're like, fuck. That's, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a tough one.
You know, it's interesting you're talking about it being more difficult to hear higher frequencies. I feel like your voice is deep. Do you think
Yeah.
that contributed at all to be like, these are more the frequencies that are easier to hear for you? Like, you just
think
got used
so.
to speaking in that tone?
If that's what I'm hearing, it makes sense that that's what is coming out of me. On the upside, I can't hear like fire alarms and annoying beeps and stuff. So.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, and then like there's a lot of things I just can't hear when I have my hearing aids out. Like if I lock my car and it makes a little beep, I can't hear it.
Are you ever like, now is a good time to take these out for some peace and
At
quiet?
the end of the day, it feels like taking your bra off. I would imagine. I don't wear bras, but like you just take it out and you're like, oh. But the reality is that it's like a major factor, and it always has been a huge impact on the way I am, the way I think, the way I interact with people, communicate. So I've really started to understand it a little more. I think having a brother who had a worse hearing loss also made me not want to really ask for much.
Because you're like, he needs it more.
Because he has a worse hearing loss, so I don't want to like ask for help, but maybe not want to like be like, I need these things. My mom actually sent me an article a while back about like people with my level of hearing loss like struggling a lot because they're the ones that don't seek help. Like my brother's fully happy to like, he's got the big hearing aids that go around his ears. He's proud of them. He hooks them up to Bluetooth and shit.
Yeah.
His have all these capabilities because he's fine with them being a little bit bigger. I always wanted just the smallest ones possible. So I mean, even the ones I have are like.
Oh shit. Yeah, I would never have been able to see that.
Yeah, I got them in black too because I figure when you look into someone's ear hole, you don't see skin color, you see the
Black.
the black of the ear hole. So I got that, and then it's like, yeah, it's hard to see.
I would never have ever guessed.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever talked about it.
How does it feel talking about something that's been, like, does it feel like it was a secret, like you kind of wanted to but couldn't because you didn't know how to break it?
Yeah, and I think another thing is like, because like I had a show that was loosely based on my life that I had in development, and like the dude I was writing it with was like, we should talk about this. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to like exploit this for like gain. But I think, you know, as I've gotten a little older, I'm more comfortable with like talking about it in a way that, you know, I think will actually relate to people, because the people that do understand where I'm coming from, it'll probably hit pretty hard, and they'll probably like appreciate it. And I think it also would help to reduce, I don't know, not reduce, but I think that I just think the stigma around hearing aids is much less normal than glasses. It just seems more uncommon, and people look at you differently. And in reality, it's just like, it's the same thing.
It's helping one of your senses be elevated or
Yeah.
whatever. So what's next, man? You are working on so many projects.
Yeah. I wrote a movie that I've been writing for about 7 years. It just kept getting pushed to the back burner. It was something that I wanted to make for a really long time. I finally took it out like a month ago. I would star in it and direct it. So that is like my main goal right now, is to try to do that. We also are working on a Real Bros of Simi Valley movie.
Oh shit.
We have a perfect ending for the whole thing, and I won't rest until it's complete. And then I have a movie that's premiering at Sundance, or depending on when this came out, premiered at Sundance.
Just premiered at Sundance.
It went great. It was so much fun.
Everyone loved it. Won some
so
awards.
well received.
How many awards did it win? Like,
all of them.
All of them.
Like, it won every single award. That was crazy. I have a movie coming out called The Machine, coming out in May, where I play Bert Kreischer when he was in college.
And if you're not working on projects, you're snowboarding in Antarctica? I went to your Instagram feed and you literally have a video of you snowboarding in Antarctica, hanging out with penguins.
Yeah, so that was wild. That was definitely the wildest trip I've ever been on. And it was really cool to explore Antarctica.
Yeah.
And the expedition we were on had like all these marine biologists and scientists that like... You
were on an expedition?
Yeah,
Bro.
It was an expedition.
Oh, I went on an expedition to Antarctica.
Yeah, I got... I was invited. I had to go. There was no way to not go to that. No. A lot of cool people, but like also a lot of people that really understood the world and the planet and like Antarctica. And it was very interesting to talk to them and just ask them all of like the crazy questions and deep questions and questions about the Earth. I learned a lot, and it was really just like the best trip of my life.
It's wild thinking about where you came from, knowing that you grew up struggling, you know, sleeping on the floor with your two siblings in one single bedroom, and then flash forward, 20 years and you're snowboarding in Antarctica. Like,
I know.
It's kind of wild to see where your life can take you,
It is always nice to kind of step back and look at how far you've come. I talked about this before, but like, it often feels like you're just kind of like you're climbing up a mountain and you just have your head down. I think it's important to have your head down a lot of the time to really just make progress. But it's also nice to every now and then just stop, turn around, and enjoy the view for a second and see how far you've come. And that was definitely one of those moments where you just had to enjoy the view.
Were you always buff?
I've always been a little buff.
You're a buff child?
I was a buff child. I was a buff boy.
I haven't seen many buff children, but
Yeah, I was like the little sixth grader that had like a little six pack.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
Were you like crunching it up? Like, what do you do?
All I did when I was a kid was like play sports and do
You were just active.
skateboard. I was active. I didn't play video games. I didn't like watch much TV.
All I did was play video games. This was my body type was this. This is what I got really good at doing.
Right.